Hi friends, welcome back to Foster Care Friday. Today I'm going to be answering. Today I'm going to be answering a viewer question. Can foster parents contact their former foster child after reunification with the birth parents occurs? So if you're interested in that, stick around. But first, if you are new here, my name is Anna Leonora. And together with my husband, Jason, we are foster parents in real life. And here on my channel, From the Fosters, we do foster parenting life together and raise awareness for the foster care system. So if any of that interests you, please consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel down below so that you can join my growing cyber family here on YouTube. Y'all, we hit over 1,000 followers over Mother's Day weekend. So that was super, super exciting. I'm very grateful. As the platform grows, it's just more people that we can reach about the foster care system and foster parenting. And I'm so grateful for that, especially with it having happened during Foster Care Awareness Month. That's super freaking cool. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who is already part of my cyber family, and thank you to everyone who is about to be part of my cyber family. I'm really excited about the growth of the channel. Let's get into the answer. So the answer to this question is actually pretty simple and easy. So hopefully this video will be relatively short compared to my other videos. The answer is, like everything else in foster care, it depends. But what it depends on is the birth parent. If the foster parents have forged a good relationship with the birth parent, and the birth parent understands that it's in the child's best interest to have continued contact with the foster family, then the birth parents can allow that to happen. But it is entirely up to the birth parents. So there's no clause or law or anything like that that says that the foster parents can continue to have contact. So it's 100% up to the birth parents, which is one of the reasons why it's such an important thing to participate in shared parenting with the birth parents. Because if and when reunification happens, especially if that child was in the foster home for a long period of time, that's another loss that the child is experiencing, is going back to their birth family. They're now losing their foster family. And if that connection gets to remain, where the foster parents can continue as babysitters for the kid, or can still go out and do activities with the kid, with the birth parent, and still see the kid participate in their life, it makes the transition much easier on the child. However, there are birth families that, for whatever reason, whatever their reasons are, don't want to continue that contact. You know, their child being in foster care could be a very traumatic time for them. And when they get their kid back, they just want to move on from it. And they don't want to be constantly reminded of it. And that's their right as the birth parent. Or maybe they didn't get along with the foster parent. Maybe they didn't see eye to eye and they had a really tumultuous relationship and they just don't want to deal with it. And while that's not always necessarily thinking of putting the child first, it is their right as a birth parent to get to choose who their children have contact with. So it helps make everything smoother, easier, a better transition if the foster parents and the birth parents at least try to get along. But better than trying to get along is when you're able to forge an actual real relationship, when you're able to actually respect and even love each other for the roles that you've played in the child's life. And that really can allow for beautiful relationships to continue after a child is reunified. And that's the ideal. That's the standard that everyone is trying to reach in foster care. Or maybe not everyone, but that's the ideal that should be reached in foster care, is that the foster parents and the birth parents get along, they share parenting of the child, and they forge a good relationship so that when the child does go back to their rightful birth family, the foster parent can continue to serve as a support person, can continue to provide advice, parenting advice, life knowledge, can continue to be a strong, stable support person in the child's life. That's the ideal. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often. As I've said time and time again, the foster care system needs reform big time. It's very easy for the birth parents to resent foster parents for things that aren't the foster parents' fault. And it's easy for people to be judgmental of birth parents. It's just very easy for a break or a resentment or a crack in that relationship to occur. And it takes a really conscious, deliberate, persistent effort on both the foster parent and the birth parent's part to maintain and grow that relationship for the child. It's all about being for the child, but when the child is reunified, it is up to the birth parent. So if the birth parent doesn't want the foster parent in the child's life for any reason at all, then that's it. The foster parent never speaks to that child again, never hears about that child again, never sees that child again. And that's hard on the foster parent, it's hard on the child, but it's the reality. So that's just my little plug for like, try your best at shared parenting. It's not always possible, and I get that. But you just got to try your best. You just got to do the best you can. And just keep reminding yourself that it's for the child, right? Like, obviously as adults, we know that other adults can be infuriating and difficult and challenging, and it's not easy to have relationships with people all the time. And, you know, especially if you know why your child came into care, sometimes it's not easy to want to respect the birth parents who did whatever they did to the child, or whatever the situation may be. It can be very challenging, but we just have to keep reminding ourselves that it's about the kids, what is best for the child, and ultimately, except in very severe, significant, extreme cases, in which case usually the children don't end up being reunified. But aside from the very severe cases, shared parenting and a good bond between foster and birth parents helps the child transition back when they get reunified. So just try for the kids, except for in the very severe cases, which those are their own beast of a thing that I may talk about someday, but I have to be very careful with that because I've had some of those cases come through my home and I don't want to break confidentiality. So I don't know. So that's maybe like way down the line. But yeah, for most cases, a continued relationship is expected between the foster parents and the birth parents during the child's time in foster care. And then when they're reunified, it is 100% up to the birth family. So just try your best to be good to them, to respect them, their role in the child's life, and forge a decent relationship with them so that when the child goes back, you can continue to have a relationship with them. But if the foster or the birth parents choose to not have a relationship with you, that is their prerogative, that is their legal right. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's hard, but it happens. And it's one of the hard realities of foster care. So I hope that answered your question. I don't want to talk too much longer because I'll just be talking in circles, giving you the same piece of information. It depends. It's up to the birth parents. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And until next time, go out and shine your light into the world. Bye.